Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I cannot see anybody. Okay. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon session. I'll be taking you through proficiency in general English. Okay. Now, just look at the first slide. What does it say? I have put a quotation, just so that we start on a positive note. We need to stay positive. We need to work hard, and only then we can make it happen. And it stands for anything that you desire or you aspire or you want to be. Okay, I'll just go through the PGCET once. Um, Last time when I had taken this session, I had explained what is PGCET. So I just will glance through the slide and move on. It is an examination conducted by the government of Karnataka, that is PGCET, and the KMAT is a exam which is conducted by private professional colleges, and these exams are conducted for the students to join on a merit list. Now, this is the syllabus for PGCET. This is the PGCET syllabus. And like you have synonyms, antonyms, one word substitution, idioms and phrases, pairs expressing relationships, grammar, sentence correction, famous books in literature, and so on. And in KMAT, the syllabus is almost the same, except you have a little extra, like, language skills, para jumble, and understanding of passages. Now, let's start with synonyms. See, last time, whatever I have today, it's very different from whatever I've had in the previous session. Okay, I've changed. In the sense, all the words are all different. The topic remains the same, of course. Now, what is a synonym? A synonym means meanings. Now, on the right-hand side, you have the word, and on the left-hand side, you have the meaning. What is the meaning of the word baffle? It means to confuse or deceive. Diligent, hardworking, determined, industrious. Hypocrisy or hypocrisy, both the pronunciations are correct. One is American and one is Brit. Means duplicity or falseness. That is being cunning by nature and so on. Introvert or introverted is being shy. Bashful and shy means the same. Okay, whatever you have here, all these mean the same, only the shade is a little different. Okay, quiet, withdrawn, and lackadaisical means lazy, someone who is lazy, someone who is idle, someone who is lethargic, lazy, indolent. Okay, and mean here, mean doesn't mean meaning, or it doesn't means something. Okay, it here mean is he's a very mean kind of person, means unfriendly, unpleasant, bad tempered, etc. Outgoing is someone who is friendly, sociable, warm, extrovert, and so on. Someone who is very friendly. Okay, and recalcitrant means someone who is obstinate and stubborn. And affluent is someone who is rich and wealthy, well off. See that this word well, this is not pronounced wealthy. Okay, I've heard many students pronounce this wealthy, healthy. That's a wrong pronunciation. The correct way to pronounce these words are wealthy, healthy. Th is a theta. Next, turbulent is something which is violent, and melancholy is something which is sad, miserable, and so on. Next, we move on to antonyms. Antonyms are opposites. Crooked, opposite, straight. Demand, supply. Drunk, sober. A drunk is a person who doesn't have his wits around him, whereas a sober person is very much in the now. Professional, amateur. Freeze, boil. Unique, common. Wax, wane. Here again, the word wax, it means something which is increasing. Okay, something which is going up, something which is increasing in size or stature. It doesn't mean the beeswax or some other wax that we think about. Okay, here this means, see, like I think I have told this earlier, words, especially, I mean, almost in any languages, but For the time being, since I'm going through English, some words change their meanings, or the meanings are taken into consideration depending on the word, which is the way the word is used in a sentence. For example, the beeswax is used for dash dash dash. There you are talking about the wax of the bee, I mean the beehive material. Okay, the moon waxes and wanes every fortnight means the moon, here we are talking about increasing and decreasing, increase and decrease in the size of the moon. So you need to be very careful when you are reading something. Then praise and criticism, powerful and weak, plentiful and sparse, union and, that is something which is very common. Now we have one word substitute here. What is the meaning of one word substitute? This is usually used in when you are writing when you are minimizing, bringing down a passage. Okay, that is when we use these things. When you are writing a précis, that is when one word substitute comes into the picture. But for your PGCET, they might give you a sentence, and they might ask you to pick the word, choose the word which is the correct one, and they might give you 4, and then you need to choose the correct one. Anyhow, you don't have to write anything. This is an objective kind of question paper that you are going to have. So I have done the same thing here. You can unmute and answer, or you can even I think you can unmute and give me the answer. Now we have a phrase, and on the other side we have the one word substitute. Now, what is the meaning of the phrase, a state or a society or a group of people which is governed by old people? What is the correct answer here? Come on, somebody. You have 10 phrases on the one side and 10 answers on the other. Which do you think is the correct answer? A society, group, or state which is governed by old people. What is the one word substitute?
Option second.
Very good. Gerontocracy. Yes, very good. Have you heard about the word gerontology? Gerontology is something to do with the study of elderly people. Okay, in the medical field, it is an upcoming field right now, because these days the life expectancy has gone up and so on. So yes, very good. Who has given the answer? Who gave me the answer?
Nirupama.
Very good, Nirupama. Thank you. Okay, what is the answer for the second one? The action or offense of speaking sacrilegiously about God or sacred things. In other words, profane talk. What is the one word substitute? Come on, I want everybody to try. It doesn't matter if it is wrong. Okay, this is a kind of informal class. And anyhow, I can't see. Come on. What do you think is the other term for profane talk? To talk loosely, to talk in an insulting manner about religious things, about God and so on. What is it known as? Shall I give the answer, or would anyone like to try? Okay, the answer is blasphemy. Blasphemy is the blasphemy. Number 4, that's the answer. Next, the arrangement of events or dates in the order of their occurrence. The arrangement of events or dates in the order of their occurrence.
Chronology.
Yes, very good. Is it Nirupama again?
Yeah, ma'am.
Very good. Chronology, the word chronos in Greek refers to time. And if you remember last time, I don't know whether it was for you or somebody else. Okay, chronemics is the language of time. So chronos refers to time. Yes, it's chronology. Next, a vigorous campaign for political, social, or religious change. What is it known as? A vigorous campaign for political, social, or religious change is known as... What's the answer? It's a crusade. It's known as a crusade. Next, broken or done, spoken or done without preparation. You call it a jam session. Just a minute. What do you call it?
Extemporary.
It is known as, yes, can you pronounce it again?
Extemporary.
It's, yeah, your answer is right, but the pronunciation is wrong. it is pronounced as extempore. Okay, it's pronounced as extempore. It's not extempore. Your answer is correct. I'm talking about the pronunciation now. Is that Nirupama again?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So it's how do you pronounce the word?
Extempore.
Yes, it's pronounced as extempore. Next, release someone from a duty or obligation is to dash someone. See, now the choices are less. You have to just look at the words which we haven't used. Release someone for duty or obligation, from a duty or obligation, is to exonerate someone. Okay, is to exonerate someone or is to exonerate them. That's the word. Certain to happen, something which is definitely going to happen, whether we do anything or not. What is that? The events are
Inevitable.
inevitable. See, we all know it's COVID, corona is out there. And if you don't take precautions, it's inevitable that you'll go down with coronavirus. Next, safe to drink. See, when we were young, the water from the taps were safe to drink. In those days, we never heard of water filters because the environment was so good. I guess the water was dash enough to drink, and it was dash. It was safe to drink straight away from the tap. What do you call that? Drinkable water is known as. I'm giving you a hint. There is a word which rhymes with drinkable water. It rhymes
Potable.
with, yes, it is potable. Potable is something which is which can be eaten, or in this case it is drink. An imaginary ideal society free of poverty and suffering. In Hindu mythology, we call it Ram Rajya. What is the English word for that? Come on.
Option 10.
Yes, it's utopia. It's utopia. Utopia is a place, it's an imaginary world, okay, wherein everyone is happy, contented, and so on. In exactly the same way words as we used originally. If you repeat something the same way as it is known as. What is it known as? It's known as verbatim. Okay, verbatim means repeating as it is. See, for example, you have you need to answer passages. Read the following passage carefully and answer the questions given below. You are supposed to read, understand, analyze, and then you need to answer. Most of the students copy down the answers verbatim as it is. Copy, paste. Next, we move on to idioms and phrases. What are idioms and phrases? They are a collection of words or phrases, okay, which have a figurative meaning. What do you mean by figurative? The sentence gives you something, okay, the meaning. Verbatim, it means something. Literally, it means something. But it is used in the secondary, or in some instances, the tertiary meaning of the given phrase or idiomatic expressions. They are grammatically also, they are quite unusual many a times, and it's a useful tool in linguistics. What is linguistics? Linguistics is the study of language. Okay, and each language has its own collection of wise sayings. All of us have, and almost every language. For example, suppose if we are to speak in Kannada, say, in class, you will pretend, I mean, this is just an example, don't take it literally. Students are busy, doing some other homework while the class is going on. Imagine this scenario. And they are all happy, thinking that they have deceived the teacher. They have duped the teacher. And of course, the teacher knows. See, if that happens in my class, of course, most of the times I know that the students are up to something, but I don't take them to task because I don't want to disturb the class, okay? But the students never see it from that angle. They think that, they are clever enough to fool the teacher. And once they go out, what do you know what they'll say? Naan ivattu teacher ige manga ಮಾಡಿದೆಯಾ? So what is the literal meaning of the manga madide? It means you have made the teacher into a monkey. But does that mean I have become a monkey? No. What is that? Is that's an idiomatic idiom in Kannada language. So what does that mean? It means you have managed to fool the teacher in a very proper manner. Okay, do you understand that? And in Malayalam, are there any Malayalam speaking people there? I mean, in our college we have. So okay, fine. I'll move ahead. So what happens is, I'm sorry. So here I have given an example. Not one's cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea, we say. Suppose if somebody asks you to, join MCA or some other course, you might tell them, no, I don't think so. It's not my cup of tea. What does it mean? It means it is something which you are not interested in. We are not talking of tea. Neither we are talking of in somebody's cup. Now, okay. Again, here I have jumbled up. You need to match. And these are all very common ones, okay? I have brought something which is very easy because I wanted to see how many students would really try. Okay. On one side, again, you have idiomatic expressions, and the other side, you have the correct meaning. It's jumbled. You need to match it. Food for thought. What is the meaning of food for thought? It's very easy, okay? Nothing to worry about. And you need to use these things. What is the use of knowing or understanding these things so that we can use these tools when we speak to each other? It adds color, it adds depth to your communication. What is the meaning of food for thought? It is not food, okay? It's pronounced as food. Food for thought. What does it mean?
Option 2, ma'am.
Yes, very good. Nirupama, I guess. Something that's worth thinking carefully about. See, they say you need to read books. Okay, you need to read good books, and we are what we read, because just like you have food for to nurture yourself, you need to read something worthwhile so that you nurture your mind too. It's very important. Next, a smart cookie.
Intelligent person.
Yes, Nirupama is a smart cookie. But of course, when you use the word cookie, it doesn't mean, yes, intelligent, yes, but it has a little bit of, a snide, I see a little shade of snide remarks in that. Okay, usually we don't use, unless we are friends or we know each other very well. An intelligent person. A bad apple. A bad apple?
Option 5.
Yes, someone who creates problems or trouble. Now, what is the meaning of a bad apple, or what happens when an apple rots in a basket? See, a bad apple is an apple which has gone rancid, which has, which is rotting. So when you keep a rotten apple, it can be an apple, mango, whichever, or a banana, whatever. When you keep it in a basket of fruits, the rot slowly starts spreading to the other apples or bananas or oranges or whatever in the basket. So it means a person who creates problems or trouble, and it starts spilling over, doesn't it? Imagine in the class you are really listening, but your friend, the one who is sitting next to you or one is sitting behind you, if they are up to some antics, naturally you'll be distracted, and that leads to problems and trouble. Have a sweet tooth.
Someone who likes eating sweets.
Yes. Who is this? This was someone different. Who answered?
Nirupama only, ma'am.
Nirupama only. You sounded. Do you have a sweet tooth?
Kind like.
That's why it kind of, infiltrated in your the emotions. Which sweet were you thinking of in particular?
Nothing of such sort. Any sweets are fine to me.
Is it? Okay. So those who have a sweet tooth means someone who likes to eat sweets. Next, under the weather. Half of the entire world is under the weather right now. COVID-19 has created a situation where all of us feel under the weather, and it has been how many months now? Almost 6 months, isn't it? Spilling over to the 7th. Come on, give me the meaning. What does it mean?
Option 3.
Yes, to survive a dangerous event or effectively deal with a difficult situation. Very good. Weather a storm. Weather a storm. What does it mean?
Option 6.
1 second. Next. 1 second. Yes, we are not your usual self. Correct. Weathering. No, 1 second. Under the weather. Oh, I'm sorry. Under the weather means, you are not your usual self, or could be feeling a little sick. Weathering a storm is the COVID situation. It has made a weather a storm. That is, survive a dangerous event or effectively deal with a difficult situation. I'm sorry, but under the weather means, we are, of course, COVID has made us go under the weather. We are not feeling a regular selves. Next, chasing rainbows.
Following dreams.
Yes, but not any kind of dreams. See, all of us need to follow our dreams, but we need to have a realistic check now and then. Okay, that's very important. Otherwise, see, what is the literal meaning of the word chasing rainbows? Is rainbow approachable? Can you touch a rainbow? No, because the nearer you think that you go, the farther it keeps moving away. So chasing rainbows means following dreams, trying to do something that cannot be achieved, that is out of our reach. So we need to be very careful when we chase our dreams. Chasing dreams is a good thing, but you need to have a check now and then, a reality check now and then, and see whether your goals or whatever are achievable or not. And that's why they usually, the motivational gurus tell us to take a small, first you need to have a small goal which is attainable, which you can achieve, and then go for a bigger one, and so on. Salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. Come on, I want others to take part also. I have nothing against Nirupama giving me the answer, but I need others also to express, to tell me their answer. It doesn't matter if it is wrong. Just now, see how it happened. I was confused and I agreed with the wrong answer. No problem. I'm not feeling bad. Things happen. So what? What is the meaning of salt of the earth? Salt of the earth are those kind of people who are honest and good. Okay, see, because without salt, you cannot think of any food. So likewise, honesty and goodness is very, very essential. And in Kannada, there is a saying. It's because of these people that the earth gets its yearly showers and so on, waterfall. The tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg. We all know Titanic, don't we? What happened there? Yes, option. What's the answer? The tip of the iceberg. Yes, someone was it Nirupama?
Yes, ma'am. Option A.
Yes, just a small part of something much, much bigger. Titanic. And can you tell me, see, we all, I'm sure all of us have seen the movie Titanic, and all of us have seen the ice floe, which was huge, with which the Titanic, because of which the Titanic sunk. Yes. What do you think was the percentage of the iceberg which was above the sea level, and what percentage of the iceberg do you think is below the sea level? Any answer? This is a common enough question when we say the tip of the iceberg. Anybody? What percentage of the iceberg usually, the tip, what is the percentage of the tip of an iceberg? And what is the submerged percent? Anyone? The tip is usually only 10%, and the 90% of the iceberg you will find it submerged. Someone is presenting. Please don't share your screen. One second, it got stuck. One second. Someone was presenting. Okay, okay, fine. Next, we move on to analogies. No, no. Is it visible now? Can you see the screen? Nobody is answering. At least in web,
Yes, ma'am.
Cisco web, WebEx, I can see whether the participants here. I can't even make that out. Okay, fine. As far as it's visible, then it's fine. You can hear me, right? Am I coming across loud and clear? Okay,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is it? Fine. Thank you. Thank you. What is an analogy? It's a comparison that shows the relationship between two pairs of words, and there are numerous types of analogies. Okay. Now I have given an example. Usually we go with a specific relationship. So when you are given analogies for your exam, you need to first read it very carefully and try to understand the relationship of the given pair. And then once you understand the relationship of the given pair, finding the answer, the contrasting pair or the word will be easier. Now, hammer, nail, comb and hair. Can you tell me what is the relation, or how is it a pair? I have given the answer here. So can you tell me? Anybody? Can you explain this? See, you use a hammer to nail a nail, and you use a comb to comb your hair. Mansion and shack. Yacht and dinghy. Dinghy, it's pronounced as dinghy because the word dingy is D-I-N-G-Y, and those two words are two different things. D-I-N-G-H-Y, dinghy, means a small boat. See, a mansion, we all know. You know, rich people live in mansions, huge bungalow. I mean, not even bungalow. It's bungalow is a different a sort of a house than a mansion. A mansion is a truly of gigantic proportions. Okay, a huge one. A shack is a small hut-like structure, a shed-like structure. So opposites. The relationship is opposite here. But of the same, the characteristics are the same. We are talking of houses in the first instance, and in the second, yacht is a pleasure cruise. It's a pleasure boat which is owned by the billionaires and trillionaires. Okay, it is pronounced as not yacht, it is pronounced as yacht, and this is dinghy. Dingy means D-I-N-G-Y. That's a different word. It means a small boat. Can you see the slide? Is it visible? Just to make sure. Hello? Hi there.
I am not able to see, ma'am. I
You're
don't know
not,
what it is.
you can't see?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Your screen is not visible.
Not visible? See, you should have informed me earlier. That's what I keep asking now and then. See, in case I'm not visible now, I think I have to go back to that. Just hold on for a second. Okay. I think, is this all right, or do I need to maximize this?
Now, madam.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So many glitches with technology, isn't it? Class would have been a lot better. We are there, the blackboard is there. Nothing is going to be invisible, neither the students. Okay, so do you need me to explain this again? A mansion, a hammer, nail, comb and hair. I take it that it's easy. I don't need to explain that, isn't it? A mansion and shack, we are talking about buildings here, places where people live. A mansion is a huge one where the billionaires live, and a shack is a kind of a hut or a shanty wherein poor people, I mean, it's a It's a much smaller version. A yacht is a pleasure boat. Okay, it's only the very rich. It's like a small ship. It's not a ship. It's a small ship, a luxurious, which is owned by trillionaires and millionaires. And dinghy is a small boat. Okay, that's what I was explaining. D-I-N-G-H-Y. This is pronounced as dinghy, which means a small boat. And there is one more word, dingy. If we pronounce this as dingy, the spelling becomes D-I-N-G-Y, dingy, which means something which is dull, okay, something which is not up to the mark. That is the meaning of the word dingy. So you need to be very careful when you are pronouncing these words. So these are the different types of analogies. You have analogies of synonym, happy, joyful, sad, depressed, where the meanings are the same. Antonyms, where the pairs are opposites, inflation and deflation, frail, strong. Then characteristic of certain things. Tropical means something which is very hot, and polar means something which is very cold. Characteristics. Next, part and whole. Finger is a part of your hand, whereas petal is a part of a flower. Degree. The degrees of comparison, or the degrees of either heat or cold or whatever. Mist is a much lesser degree than fog, and drizzle is just slight rain. Whereas when you speak of tropical storm, we might be thinking of, or we might be looking at heavy downpour. Then type here. Golden retriever is the type of, hello? Yes? Golden retriever is a type of dog, whereas salmon is a type of fish. Next, tool and worker. Pen is used by a writer and voice is used by a singer. Action object. Aeroplane, you fly an aeroplane, you drive a car. Item and purpose. A knife is used to cut, whereas a ruler is used to measure. Product and worker. Poet writes a poem and baker bakes a pie. So these are the different types of analogies. And when again I repeat, when you get when you're answering these kind of questions in your PGCET, just make very sure that you know what type of analogy is it, because there'll be quite confusing questions too. Okay, here you have a semantic analogy. Chiku is a fruit supermarket. Chiku fruit supermarket. Novel dash dash. Come on, give me the answer.
Bookstore.
Yes, very good. Chiku is a fruit which you buy at a supermarket. So novel is a book which you buy at a bookstore. Very good. Next, we move on to classification analogies. It is also it's also known as part to whole examples. So you have a picture here. So eraser, pencil. See, the eraser is behind the pencil. Okay, and the dog and tail. And wheel is a part of a wagon. It need not be covered, any wagon. Illinois is a part of United States of America. So a part and whole. Next, checkers is a game. Classification. Peach is a
Fruit.
yes, fruit. It can also be color, but I guess they might give you that too. But here we are talking about a fruit. Dog is a pet. Jazz. Music. Very good. Cow, herd, lion. What is the connection here? What is the relationship in this instance? Cow,
Forest.
yes, no, not forest. See, cow, herd. See, this is a collective noun, okay? In this instance, it's a collective noun. A cow, many cows, a group of cows is known as a herd of cattle, a herd. Lion, a group of lions. If you find some 3 or 4 lions together, what do you call that? What is the collective noun for lions? That should be the answer here. They might give you in the option, they might give you forest, they might give you lioness, God knows what else they might give you. What is the answer here? What is the collective noun for lion? Lions. Anybody? Dash, I'll tell you a proverb here. Dash goes before the fall. Okay, the answer is pride. A pride of lions. Haven't you heard that?
Ma'am, someone answered in the chat box.
Where is it? I can't see the chat box. Chat box is not visible here. That was what I was saying. This is Google Meet, and this is I don't find this user friendly. If you give me an option, I would any day go for Cisco WebEx. That's much user friendly. I couldn't see the chat box.
We can see.
No, I couldn't see it here.
Wait.
That's what I am using. I'm sorry for the problem. I'm using Google Meet for the first time. That's why I asked you to unmute and answer. Okay. I want to see this is much better actually.
Right.
Can we have it in this way?
We can. 1 second.
Just hold on for a sec.
ಇದನ್ನ ಎನ್ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದು.
Oh, this is quite bad. This is difficult. It's better if they unmute and answer. Okay, are you with me? Is that all right? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who was that who had typed the answer in the chat box? Come on now. Who was it?
Macwin, ma'am.
Okay, Macwin. See, you sound so nice, so good. Why can't you unmute and speak? I'm sorry for the interruption and troubleshoot that's happening. I'm using Google Meet for the first time. I much prefer this WebEx any day. Yes. Thank you, Macwin. Yes, Macwin is right. Next, heel. How do you pronounce this word? The next word, how do you pronounce it?
Foot.
Yes, you are right. Heel, foot, finger, because FOOD is food. FOOT is foot. Finger. Finger is a part of, again, whole and part. Heel is a part of your foot, and finger is a part of, actually it should be palm, isn't it? This is palm, but we say hand anyway. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, opposite or antonym analogy. See, this time I have come up with lots of, pictures and so on, so to liven up the session. Finished reading? Okay, dissimilarity, difference, unlikeness, disagreement, contrast, apophatism, cataphatism, these are all synonyms of the same word, which means opposite. Achieve, fail, fade, brighten, generous, stingy, gentle, rough, gloomy, cheerful, rigid, opposite?
Flexible.
Very good. Flexible. You can have. Can someone give me a synonym for that? Another word for the word flexible?
Vulnerable.
No. Vulnerable means something else. Rigidity is something or someone which is very strong, which doesn't move, which doesn't change often, which is very, which will always be where it is. Flexible is a person or something which probably might change, malleable, lenient. These are the other words that susceptible to change. These were the other words that I was looking at. What was your word by vulnerable? Vulnerable means in a position wherein probably a person might get, you might be harmed. Okay, a position of a victim is vulnerable. So that does that and the word flexible mean the same? Malleable, amenable, does it mean the same? No. So words have different shades of meaning, but I really appreciate your, giving me that word so that I could explain the difference between this and that. Next, association analogies, cause and it's also known as cause and effect. So allegory, moral, apocryphal, and false. So I've given an explanation. What allegories are usually, they are the tools which are used in moral stories. Okay, when you tell a story which has a moral quality, we use mostly allegorical illustrations. But in the second instance, it means apocryphal stories are usually, largely or entirely, they are false. Now snake, so this is the association analogy. Next you have snake and snake, porcupine. And what is the missing word here? You have word quills. What do you think could be the answer? What do you think is the answer? Snake, porcupine, dash, quills. Porcupine is that it's a small animal which has a lot of quills on its body. In Kannada it is known as mullu handi. I don't know, in English it is porcupine. Hedgehog. Hedgehog is they are a little different, but yes, to some extent. So come on now, snake we all know.
Scales.
Turtle.
No, very good. Scale is the answer because, no, to be very honest and frank, when I saw this first, the first idea that came to my mind was fangs. Okay. And then I read it properly and then I realized it is scales. See, porcupine, the outer covering of the porcupine is quills. Okay. Likewise, what is the outer covering of snake? I mean, the snake is covered with scales and a porcupine is covered with quills. Okay, the porcupine rattles its quills. They say that if a tiger or it's a prey, it's an animal of prey. So what happens? Lions, or if they try to catch a porcupine, they say it kind of rattles its quills and it makes a sound wherein they get scared and they run away. They might get scared. A snake has coils and fangs are the teeth of a snake. So please read the question, the relationship very, very properly. Otherwise, if I was answering properly, I might have written fangs and come out very happily, whereas it's wrong. So it is talking about the epidermis, external covering of these two animals. Fine, we have come to the last session of analogies. Analogies, not the session. Okay, solve the following analogies. Now, this is the mixture of everything. Tectonics, building, taxidermy. But for you to answer these questions, you should know the meaning of the words too. Only then it becomes easier. Tectonics is to do with building, okay? It's to do with architecture and building. That we all know. Anyhow, we have the answer. What is the meaning of the word taxidermy? Have you heard that word? Have you heard that? Can anybody give me the meaning? At least if I tell you the meaning, probably you'll be able to give me the answer. What is the meaning of the word taxidermy? Have you seen an animal which is stuffed, a realistic looking animal, a wild animal which is stuffed? Taxidermy is the art or the science of preserving wild animals as they look. If you have visited any zoos or in Mysore Zoo, they have a collection of animals which look very real. Okay, they look realistic. So taxidermy is a science of preservation. Come on, what is the answer now? What's the answer?
Conserving.
No, conserving is you conserve live animals. Live wild animals are conserved, conservation of forests. But taxidermy is applied once the animal is dead. What's the
Collecting.
answer? No. What's the answer? Stuffing is the answer. Have you seen real looking animals? See, in olden days, they had, if you go to Pilikula, if you go to that there is a Guttu Mane, no? There is a Guttu house there. There you can see the antlers of a bison, antlers, and the face of a bison. Have you seen that? That is the work of a taxidermist. Once the animal dies, they remove the entrails, and it is, a lot of chemicals. It's a procedure. And they stuff the wild animals, and they look real. They look real. Only the eyes are made up of glass, I suppose. Otherwise, they look real. So taxidermy, stuffing. Painting, artist, symphony. Painting, artist, symphony.
Composer.
Composer, yes, very good. Pongi or pongi is a kind of silk. Shallot or shallot. It's a type of boat. See, they have given the word ship also. Ship is different from a boat, like hut is different from a skyscraper. Do you understand the meaning? It's like the same, it might be the same thing, but they are two different things. Equine or equine is horse, refers to horse. What does vulpine refers to? Vulpine refers to. Have you heard the word equestrian skills? Equestrian skills refers to, can anybody tell me what does it refers to? You have the word here. Equestrian skills refers to dash. Equine, you have here. What is the meaning of the word equestrian skills? Come on, the answer is here. If you have good equestrian skills, it means you can ride a horse very well. You are a superb rider. Okay, you can become a jockey. So equine, horse, vulpine. Can anybody give me the answer here? See, these are animals are usually sometimes referred to by their genus. Okay, so a horse becomes equine, and a wolf is vulpine. A cat is feline. Have you heard that word, feline? I'm sure you have heard. Cat, tigers, big cats are known as, tigers are known as big cats. Tigers, lions, cheetahs, they all come under a feline, family feline. The genus feline. Cat for equine, horse, vulpine. The answer is wolf here. For cats, it is feline. For cow, can anybody give me the answer? You have heard this word, but probably you haven't connected it till now. Whenever you come across any new word, please try to connect it with a mental image in your mind. And that is how I guess you can add to your vocabulary. Okay, word power. Cow, bovine. Have you heard the word bovine? Cow, cattle, your deer, everything comes under bovine. Wolf, vulpine. Cat, tiger, lions, feline. Pig. Can anybody give me? This, I'll give you a hint. This is kind of goes by the name of pig meat. Very close to that. What is pig meat known as?
Pork.
Okay. So the word which is related to pig is very similar to that. Can you give it to me now? It's porcine. Okay. It's porcine. And for sheep and goat, it is caprine. Haven't you heard the word Capricorn? Capricorns. Capri. Goat. Okay, I'm sorry. Next. Cardiology, heart, zoology. Easy.
Animals.
Animals. Okay, the study of heart is known as cardiology. Okay, cardios refers to heart, heart muscles, and all logos is the study of. Zoology, zoos means animals. O logo, study of animals. Now, what do you call the study of insects? Anybody? See, this is how they might give you anything. This is something which you need to do day in and day out. It's not like, you sit in a place and study new words. When you are on the move, suppose if you come across a new word, when you're listening to music, or it can be even music or movies. If you come across a new word, if you don't know the meaning of it, you need to look it up. Okay, and use that word for that day, entire day, and you can own the word at the end of the day. That is how we learn things. Okay, insects. What is the study of insects known as? What do I do in class? Usually, if I have these kind of questions, I usually take some chocolates to class. Even if I am called to take up a workshop or some guest lecture, I usually take a box of chocolates with me. And if the students if they answer correctly, I usually give them something. In that way, to Nirupama and who is the other person? Macron, is it?
McQueen.
McQueen. Okay, Mac.
Yeah,
I need to. That's what I just thought I'll shortcut here. Mac. I need to give you chocolates now, and Nirupama has probably she has won a box of chocolates by now. I'm sorry, here I can't do anything. Forget about giving chocolates. I can't even see you. Okay.
I'll come to the college, ma'am.
Pardon?
I'll come to the college.
No. You have to invite me to come to your college. Of course, joking. Yeah, I do usually do that. Okay, insects. What is the study of? You are you're welcome to come to our college, Mac. You can join our MBA, SIT. So you can get lots of chocolates from me. That is provided you answer correctly. Okay, what is the study of insects known as? It's known as entomology. What is the study of plants known as? This everybody knows. Come on. Study of botany. Yes, very good. Study of birds. Do you know who is the bird who is known as the bird man of India? The bird man of India, Dr. Salim Ali.
Salim Ali.
Dr. Salim Ali, he kind of catalogued almost all the birds of the Indian peninsula. I think Indian peninsula. He is known as the bird man of India. Such a, how do I put it, a renowned work with glossy pictures of birds. I'm sorry, not animals. What is the study of birds known as? It's known as ornithology. Okay, come on, tell me, what is the study of insects known as? You were not listening? Were you not listening when I told you the answer? See, that's what we need to always listen very attentively, and there are different types of listenings which I don't want to go into right now. But if you listen attentively, which is known as active listening, according to social research, it tells us that half of the content, whatever is happening, whatever the class, half of it you will already understand. So your learning time comes down by 50%. So you were not listening properly. The study of insects is known as entomology, and the study of birds is known as Dr. Salim Ali. What is the name known? What is the study of birds known as? Ornithology. Insects, entomology, birds, ornithology. Okay. Next, cup, saucer, knife, cup and
Fork.
saucer. Yes, knife and fork. See, but this is actually elementary level. Okay, for the kids. This is how we teach kids analogies. Frog croaks, a duck quacks. Yes, ducks quack, a duck quacks. Yes. What is the meaning of waddling? Waddle or waddle? What does it mean? The movement of the duck, okay? That's known as waddling or waddling in water. Next, cow and calf. Cow is to calf as deer is to what? Here you don't have the answer. Now think, how do cow and calf go together? Calf is the young one of the cow, isn't it? Calf is what's the relation here? What's the relation? Calf is the young one of the cow. So what is the same relation is applicable in the second picture also. What is the young one of a deer known as? Vocabulary. What is the young one of a deer known as? This is a simple enough term. It is known as fawn. F-A-W-N. It's known as a fawn. What is the young one of a cat known as?
Kitten.
Okay, kittens. Kittens, kittens. Somebody said kitty, no? A kitty also means a purse or a, a box wherein you put something. Kitty. It also means cat. I'm not saying it doesn't. What is the young one of a frog? We are all into young ones now. Let me see. Young one of a frog.
Tadpole.
Yes, tadpole. And then young one of a duck.
Duckling.
Duckling. Young one of a pig. It rhymes with duck, duckling. Pigling, okay, pigling or piglets also, both are correct. Next, okay, shall we move forward? I have some more today. I love having pictures on my slides. And especially, are you enjoying looking at these pictures? Are you enjoying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Come on. A monkey, banana, a rat or a mouse?
Cheese.
Cat.
Cheese.
Cat.
No, cheese. No, see, cat eats a rat, isn't it? Cat hunts a mouse or a rat. Here, they have shown the thing which the monkey likes or the monkey is fond of or the monkey eats. A banana is eaten by a monkey. What is eaten by a rat? Is it a cat? It is cheese. It is cheese. So, please, I repeat myself again and again. Please look at of course, you will not be given pictorial ones. Read the words properly before you think of a connection. Lemon is to sour, okay, or lemon is sour. Candy is to
Sweet.
see. If lemon is too sour, that is you are adding it to sour something. That is the meaning. Candy is to sweeten. So lemon is sour, candy is sweet. Okay, we move on to grammar. What is grammar? You have word level grammar, you have sentence level grammar, okay, and a word level grammar covers verbs, tenses, nouns, adverbs, parts of speech. And sentence level grammar covers phrases, clauses, reported speech, etc. Now, what is a clause? A clause is a group of words that has both a subject and a predicate. Okay, and you have independent clause and subordinate clauses also. An independent clause can be a complete sentence in itself. Okay, we are having PGCET session. That's we are having PGCET session. That's a complete. That's a clause. A clause. It's a complete sentence also. It is known as a main clause. If I add something to the sentence, PGCET, we are having a PGCET sentence so that the students can gain from this session for their forthcoming exams. So the second part is what is that? Subordinate clause, because it is dependent on the first one. Do you want me to repeat it? So a clause, in main or an independent clause is a sentence in itself. Only if a subordinate clause cannot stand on its own. Next, we move on to word level grammar. Actually, you have only 8 parts of speech. Here they have added determiners, that is the articles, also as a part of speech. So verbs and tenses. Okay, verbs and verb tenses. These are the main verbs and these are the helping verbs. Then you have nouns, common noun, you have proper noun, okay, common, proper, and then you have places and things. Then adjectives, it is a word which describes a noun. Okay, big, red, expensive, interesting, dull, boring, etc. Adverbs modifies a verb, adjective or an adverb. For example, can you give me a sentence, a simple sentence with a verb? Okay, I'll tell you. Can you give me? Will you try? Anybody? Just a small clause, a small sentence about today's session. Okay, today's PGCET, today's session is interesting. Now, interesting is an adjective which is modifying the verb is interesting. Today's session is very interesting. There, very is an adverb, okay? Adverb which is modifying the adjective interesting. Very interesting. How very interesting? Very, very interesting. There, the first very is modifying the second very. Have you understood it? So, an adverb is a modifying word which modifies a verb, is modifies a adjective, interesting, and modifies another adverb, that is very. Next, determiners, the, and, this, that, and so on. Then prepositions. They speak of a preposition is a word which is prepositioned, that is placed before a noun or a pronoun or two nouns in a given sentence, and they give us the relationship of the two nouns in the given sentence. For example, the common example is the laptop is on the table, which is the preposition there. On is the preposition which tells us the relationship between the two nouns, that is the laptop and the table. Next, pronouns which are used in place of nouns. Ours, yours, mine. Conjunctions, they are joining words. They join two parts of either two parts of a sentence, or they might join two sentences, and so on. Okay. Next, interjections. They are short exclamations. They don't have any grammatical value other than injecting certain emotions in your communication. How was today's session? Come on. Are you there?
Yes,
Nobody? No, how was today's session? See, I always tell, I don't know whether some of you were there for my previous session or not. I always tell the proper interjection comes when you are I'm sure all of you have the experience of getting an injection. All of you?
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you are
Yes,
typing
ma'am.
something, I can't see. Okay, what is your reaction when you are injected with something? Or say, what is your reaction? Isn't that how you would react? Isn't that how you would react? Like, yes or no? That is an interjection. Okay, it should really inject a lot of emotions into the sentence. Will not become an interjection. For example, if I tell you, like, the PG, those who are in this, those who are attending this is just imagine this scenario. And I want every one of you to unmute your mics so that I would like, I will know how you are going to react. Now, let us imagine this scenario. Listen, everybody. Those who are attending this session, we are going to draw a lot. The lucky person gets a free seat to MBA at SIT. No reaction. See, that's
What,
an
ma'am? What,
interjection.
ma'am?
What, ma'am? What, ma'am? You see the emotions that came into Mac's voice? Mac, were you not listening? I was asking everybody to unmute yourself.
Yes, yes.
Have you all unmuted yourself? Okay, now listen. See, we are going to take those who have attended this sessions. We had kept that a secret. We are going to draw we are going to take a draw. Okay, the lucky winner gets a free seat for MBA at SIT.
Really?
Come on, I want some interjections. Max earlier interjections like, oh, is it? Wow. I mean, there should be some emotions. Only then, no, it was a joke. I mean, it wasn't real. Of course, it wasn't real. I just wanted you to experience interjections at first hand. Okay, next we move on to sentence level grammar. Phrases. Then there are different types of sentences. Declarative, wherein you make a statement. Interrogative, a question mark. Imperative, it's either an order or a request. Exclamative is wherein you come up with an exclamation. Come on, give me an example for a declarative sentence. I'll tell you. Anybody? Anyone would like to try? No? Shall I continue? Shall I? Okay. Today I'm conducting a PGCET, especially for in general English for the aspiring MBA students. I mean MBA aspirants. That's a statement, a declarative sentence. I don't think many. Are you all there? Are you all enjoying today's session? That's an interrogative.
Yes, ma'am.
That's an interrogative sentence wherein I'm asking you a question. Unmute your mics, all of you. Unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
That's an imperative sentence. I am ordering you. I am ordering you. Would you please kindly mute your mics again? Kindly mute your mics again. That's again an example for imperative sentence wherein it's a request. Okay. In the first, like I was ordering. Did you see the pitch of my tone? The tone. It was going up. Okay. Then the next one, kindly. It's a kind of, Next, some of you said, oh, that was an exclamative type of sentence. Next, it's like, oh, I'm really, are you enjoying today's session? Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm so happy. That's an exclamative sentence. Next, there are 4 different type of sentence structure. Simple, which is just one single sentence. Compound, wherein 2 simple sentences are joined with the conjunction. I am handling, today we are having a PGCET session in general English for the MBA aspirants. That's simple. Today we are having a PGCET general English session for the MBA aspirants who are interested in listening. So this is a complex sentence. Okay. And today I'm having right now I'm having a PGCET general English session, and the students are really enjoying this. That's a compound sentence. Do you understand now the examples for simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences? Next, linking intransitive and transitive verbs. Intransitive verbs and transitive verbs, I mean, it takes a direct object, this takes an indirect object. And reported speech, I'm now going fast because this takes a lot of time to explain, and I'm running short of time. Actually, I told it was from 2 to 3:30, isn't it? But can I take 10 minutes extra in case I don't finish? Because I started at 2:10, didn't I? Reported speech.
Yes,
That is an indirect, yes, direct and indirect. And parenthetical expression, wherein words added to a sentence, it doesn't change its meaning. For example, students are enjoying today's session. I think students are. I mean, that is not necessary, or it doesn't change the meaning of the sentence. Okay. Now we move on to common errors in English. All these sentences are wrong, okay? You have to tell me how to correct this. John has been working on the pilot project since 2 years. Is it right? John has been working on the pilot project. Till there it is correct, okay? The second part is wrong. I mean, from here it is wrong. Here you need to change something here. John has been working on the pilot project dash 2 years.
For 2 years?
Yes, for 2 years, because for is used when these are prepositions when you are not talking about the exact time, whereas since is used when you are referring to an exact point of time. They turn up with the flying colors if they practiced well. You need to add a helping verb here. See, we are talking
Had.
about no.
They would have they would turn up with flying
They
colors.
would. Why would? Because this is something which we are just guessing, and this is not happening. Okay. So in those instances, we use would. They would turn up with the flying colors, or with the flying colors is also fine. The boy, together with his teachers and friends, dash going to the ground.
Were going to the ground.
No, were is in past tense, but this is a sentence in present tense. You are not supposed to change the tense in any given sentences. Okay, you need to stick with the tense. You can't change the tense here. The boy, together with his teachers and friends, are going to the ground. Is it correct? As it is?
The boy, along with his teachers and
No.
friends,
Okay, along with his teachers and friends. Okay, what is the next part of the
is going
sentence?
to the ground.
It will become is, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be is. So you just delete the word along here. Along not necessary. The boy, together with his teachers and friends, is going to the ground, because in this sentence the subject is the boy, and it is singular. The subject is singular, so automatically the verb, helping verb, becomes singular. But we end up looking at teachers and friends, and that is why we always end up with substituting a plural verb, subject verb agreement. The girl sat down besides the lake.
Sat besides the lake, or
No.
sat down beside the lake.
Yes, the second one. Sat down beside. Beside is next to someone or something. Besides is in addition to something. See, besides general proficiency in general English, you also have other components of for your PGCET, like numerical ability, logical reasoning, and so on. So besides means in addition to. Easily we opened the box. Is it correct? The syntax is wrong here. The word order is
We
wrong.
opened the box easily.
Yes, right. Next, please write legible.
Legibly.
Yes, legibly. Everyone greatly admired my performance. Even the word order should be correct for the syntax of the grammar. Everyone greatly admired my performance. Everyone admired my performance, or greatly. Everyone admired my performance greatly. Varsha saw a lots of swans at the lake.
Varsha saw a lot of swans.
At the lake. Okay, that's correct. That's one way of putting it. There is one more way of putting it. Varsha saw a lot of swans. You said lot of swans. Lot of, no? That's correct. Can you give me another word?
Varsha saw a lot of swans near the lake.
Varsha saw, no, Varsha saw a
Lot
lot
of
of
swans
swans at the
near
lake.
the
A lot of. Okay, that is correct. Then the mistake is here. The second, this is we can forget also.
In
Let
the
us see
end.
the word
In the
ahead.
lake.
Okay, no. This part is correct. At the lake is fine. In the lake is inside the lake. It will be inside,
Okay.
inside of something. So Varsha saw a lot of swans at the lake is fine. There is one more. Anybody? Can anyone? The mistake is here.
Lot of swans and lot of swan.
No.
No.
Lot in this remains rigid. This doesn't change, because whatever it is, there are many, isn't it? Lot or lots, it means many. See, your answer was Varsha saw a lot of swans at the lake, which is correct. And then there is Varsha saw lots of swans at the lake. No A there. Do you get it? All of you? Varsha saw lots of swans. Okay? But if you need A there, then a lot. Did you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The climate of Ooty is better than Hyderabad.
than that of Hyderabad.
Yes, very correct. Very good. Or it can be that there is one more option. The climate of UT is better than the climate of Hyderabad, or better than that of Hyderabad. Very good. Next, a pair of gloves are lying on the bed. A pair of
Is
gloves
lying on the
yes,
bed.
is lying. A pair, it is seen as one entity. A pair is one. Among the two sisters, Habiba is a better dancer. Among, that the mistake is here. It's a preposition. Can you give me the correct word here? Anybody?
Between.
Yes, between. When you're talking of two, it is always between. If it is more than two, then you use among. Among all the sisters, Habiba was a better dancer. It's like that. So here you have everything in. See, just go through this once. Shall I go on to the next slide? Sentence correction. The one which has a mistake, it is in bold, and I have given 4 options here. The small child does whatever his father. This is wrong. Okay, what do you think is the correct answer? The small child does whatever his father.
Does.
Yes, very good. Does, correct. The man to whom I sold my house was a cheat. The man,
To whom I sold.
very good. To whom I sold my house was a cheat. They were all shocked at his failure in the competition. What is the answer?
C. Had all shocked by his failure.
Just check it. Just substitute it here and just see whether it is correct or not. They had all shocked. Why do you think it is correct?
No.
No, you yourself will know. See, that's why when you think an answer is right, just in your mentally you just substitute it here and see, check. So you immediately yourself you'll know that it's the wrong answer.
There
Have
are
you
no
tried all
error, I
the?
guess.
Huh?
There are no error, I guess.
Yes, no error. When you substitute all, automatically you'll know none of these are correct. So automatically it is the last one. So this sentence has no error. They were, as it is, they were all shocked at his failure in the competition. Next, he's too important for tolerating any delay.
To tolerate.
Yes, he is too important to tolerate any delay. Correct. Next, we move on to famous books in English literature. This is something which is very huge, okay? Like I've told you earlier, and all the books here on one side you have, these are all classics. Has any one of you read any of these? Ulysses is written by James Joyce. These are all timeless, evergreen classics. At any age, any point of time, anyone can read this. So whenever you have free time, and these days you can download Kindle or you can download EPUB. You get all these books for free. You can read it for free on your smartphone. You have to just download those apps, any one app, and you can download these books for free. And the reading experience is awesome. It's very good. So Don Quixote, it's already pronounced as Dan Quixote or Quixote, is by Miguel de Cervantes. This is a Spanish book translated into English. Then Moby Dick is by Herman Melville. War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy. Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. The Call of the Wild, Jack London. The Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Now I have certain 3 pictures, but I don't think you can read the name of the authors. Can anyone tell me who has written Midnight's Children? Midnight's Children. Can you see that on your slide? Midnight's Children. It's written by Salman Rushdie. And Alice Adventure in Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland. It's a very, very famous book which is written for kids. It was a runaway success. It's written by Lewis Carroll. And which one is this? I myself can't see the name of this book now. I can't see the name of this book. I'm sorry. Okay. We move on to vocabulary. What is vocabulary? Vocabulary is word power. The more words you know, the more your vocabulary. Okay. And it is usually developed with age. You know, as you proceed, as you go forward, you daily learn a new word or a two. If it becomes a daily happening, you know, unknowingly you will end up learning so many new words. See, example I've given, the meaning of the word philanthropic is someone, it's an adjective, it describes a person. It is seeking to promise the welfare of the poor, of others. Now, example, Sudhamurthy is one who has a philanthropic bent of mind is known as a philanthropist. Okay, and see, just read what she says. Do you know Sudhamurthy and the work she does? The exemplary work she does? You know something? She is my role model.
Yes, ma'am.
I always look upon her as my role model, and I call her the modern Mahatma. I always, you know, such a great lady. And she has written certain books, okay? And I would request you to read one of her, a collection of anecdotes. What is an anecdote? An anecdote is a real life experience, wise and otherwise. Please read it. The Old Man and His God. You know, wonderful books, and you'll end up crying, and you'll end up being, you know, you'll start wondering like, do these things happen? Okay, so please, wise and otherwise, just type Sudhamurthy in the Google. Her wise and otherwise and old man. They are a collection of short stories. I mean, short anecdotes, real life experience. Please do read it. It will give you a wealth of experience sitting at home. Now, what does she say? She says, see, this is applicable for all of you. Be dependent upon yourself and know that courage has to be born within you. Courage to do what? To realize your dreams, okay? To be the person that you want to be. It takes time. Of course, it takes time. And you need to have to work for it. You definitely have to work towards being what you have visualized yourself as. And for that, you need to have a role model. So here I have some examples. Conventional, someone which is what is generally done or believed. Benevolent, friendly, helpful, kind. Uniformity, something which is same. Homogeneous. Diminished, something which is which decreases or it is made smaller or less. Empathy is that ability, is that special ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Being able to look at things from somebody else's perspective. Mollify is to console someone, appease, that is lessen the anxiety or anger of someone or somebody. Debilitate is weakening, delay, hinder. Unprecedented is unheard of, never done or known before. You know, COVID-19, because of COVID-19, we are facing some unprecedented turns in our lives. You know, the education field especially. Perceptive is having the ability to be sensitive and have an insight. Trivial is something of little importance or value. You have come across this word online. Can you tell me what that word is in the current lingo? The word trivial in the current lingo. All of you know that. Haven't you heard the word trivia? Have you heard the word trivia? Online. If you want to know something about someone or something, you can go online, and that's known as trivia. Next, para-jumbles are jumbled paragraphs. Okay, jumbled paragraphs. For example, here I have 5 different sentences. This is a paragraph, but I have it is jumbled. Okay, you have to tell me which is the first one, which is the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Only then it will make a meaningful paragraph. Of course, they'll give you 4 options. They'll give you 4 options: A, B, C, D, E, A, C, D, E, B, D, E, C, A, B, and B, C, D, E, A. They'll give you 4. You need to tell me. You need to tell or pick out the correct one. Here, which do you think is the first sentence? Which can be the first sentence? See, for in a paragraph, you have the initial, the initial, in the beginning, you need to have the sentence should start in a certain manner. Okay, then you have the developers and you have the terminators. So which sentence here do you think is introducing or is introducing this topic? In a paragraph, you have 3 different types, how do I put it? Facts. You have an introducer, you have a developer, and you have a terminator. An introducer introduces a topic. A developer develops the given topic in the paragraph, and a terminator ends the topic. So I'll tell you, exercise plays a vital role in keeping your body healthy. So this is the introducer. It's introducing something to do with. One second. Exercise plays a vital role in keeping your body healthy. By exercise, it doesn't mean a simple walk, a simple or slow walk. Okay, it should be in such a way that your body should start sweating. You can go for running, do cycling, walking faster, etc. These are the remaining 3 are the. This is C is a introducer, D, B, and A are developers, and E is the terminator. Regular exercise will also keep your body in good health. Have you understood this? Again, I have one more here. It starts like this. At first, they look like perfect pets, exotic, quiet, and tidy. Who or what looks like an exotic pet? Lizards. But lizards and other pets can harbor a Salmonella bacterium that makes people sick. A study estimates, how do we know this? Next sentence. A study estimates that in 1995, there were as many as 6,700 reptile caused Salmonella infections. People can get infected by handling reptiles and then touching their mouths or an open cut. So the answer is D, BDCA. BDCA. This is the answer. So you need to in your answer book you need to round up D as the answer. Next, comprehension of passages. It's about passages. This is quite lengthy. I think I'm sure you know what passages are all about. They give you a short passage and some questions. You need to read and understand. Now, what should you do with the comprehension? First, you need to pay attention. You need to read it. Then you shouldn't make any assumptions. You shouldn't think it could be this or that. Then you need to make notes, analyze the given content, and then formulate your answers. These are the reading comprehension skills. Now I have a picture comprehension here. This is a picture comprehension. What do you see what do you see in the picture? See, tips for answering. Observe the picture carefully. Count the figures and objects. Understand the concept and situation. Read the questions and answer accordingly. So what do you see in the picture? What do you see in the picture? Come on. What do you see in the picture? In the picture, you can see some children playing. What is the boy doing? The boy is pulling the toy cart. How many birds are flying? There are 2 flying birds. Are they happy? Does the picture look happy? Are they happy, the children? Yes. How do you feel if you travel in the cart? Then you need to answer. This is picture comprehension. They will not give you this. I just thought I'll have something, creative. Now, these, how are you going to benefit from the passage, reading comprehension skills? It will add to your vocabulary. It teaches you how to reflect, that is thinking capacity. It helps you in summarizing. It helps you to supporting claims and fast check, compare and contrast. So these are the abilities or skills which you are going to develop through passage and comprehension skills. Next, we move on to a language skills. LSRW, as the title goes, it is listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and in that order. Okay, they are important in that order. Listening is more important than speaking, which takes up much more time than reading, and of course more than writing. So writing is the least liked activity. Next comes, if you go in the ascending order, writing, reading, speaking and listening. Now listening and speaking, listening and reading, these are receptive, because when you're listening and reading, that's an input that you need to put. Whereas when you're speaking and writing, you are outputting, it's an output. Okay, you are being productive. So what should you do to achieve these 4 basic skills? To achieve these 4 basic skills, you need to make English a part of your life at home, at work, and during your free time. You need to keep reading, or else you cannot. Language skills cannot be enhanced unless it's like a language lab. I mean, and lab need not be a lab. Your home is your lab. When you are get together with your friends, that's a lab. You need to speak the language. It doesn't matter if you commit mistakes. Okay. See, this is the pie chart. Listening takes up, this is a communication scenario. Now we are communicating with each other. Okay, listening is taking up 45%. Speaking is taking up 30%. Writing, you're not writing in 9%, and reading is 16%. This is when it comes to the verbal communication. This is verbal communication. Language, we are talking about language skills here. And we mean verbal communication. We are not talking about the general communication scenario wherein non-verbal aspects come into the picture. There it is completely different. Their visual is 55. You look at people. The tone of the voice is 38. Paralinguistics. And the actual words are just 7%. That's different. We are talking about verbal language skills. Okay, so we have come to an end of the session. If there are any questions, I would like to take it up now. And we are going to share in the chat box. We are going to share the link of the mock test. Okay, we would like all of you to attempt the mock test. We are going to share the link in the chat box. You can fill it and mail it. No questions? Do I take it that you don't have any questions? Okay. So before I end, I'm going to, since it's COVID-19 and all the institutions have to follow SOP and so on. So how to cope with COVID-19? All of us are cooped up inside our houses. We are missing our friends, our family, and the recreation that we used to do. So how to cope up with the situation? Take breaks from the news. Don't listen to too much of television. Take care of your body. Eat proper food, take proper rest. If you have some online classes, attend. Have a positive mindset. Make time to unwind. What does it mean? See, if you're always thinking of COVID or what is going to happen next, whether we are going to have college or not, exams and so on, you'll kind of become very tense. Okay. So you need to unwind yourself. You can either listen to music, you can play some games, go for a walk, help your mom in the kitchen. Why not? It helps you unwind. Then you need to connect with others. This I'm sure all of you do. I'm sure all of you are there on the online all the time. And set your goals and priorities. This is very, very important, especially at this juncture. You need to be very clear of what you would like to do and what you would like to become tomorrow, and focus on the facts. So how do we fight COVID? Be informed, know what is what, be prepared to face whatever situation, but be smart so that you will not need to face those things that you think might happen, and be safe. Stay safe, okay? Stay smart, be prepared, be well informed, and be ready to fight COVID-19. So thank you all for being there, for listening and making this session happen. And all the very best for your PGCET exams. But before I go, just wait. We are going to post a link in the chat box for your mock test. Are you all going to take the mock test? Hello, are you there? Are you all? Yes, I would really,
Yes, ma'am.
request you, not advise. We can't advise, and nobody listens to advices. I would request you to take the mock test. Did you enjoy today's session, by the way?
Yes, ma'am, a lot actually.
Was it,
Yes, ma'am.
was it helpful, or is it going to help you?
Yes, ma'am.
Very, very good. Thank you. Did I teach you anything new today? Did you get to know anything new today?
Lot many things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And, take care, and stay safe. And how do I put it? Try to make your dreams come true. Just hold on for a sec. We are posting that link now. And from my side, I have really enjoyed. I would have probably enjoyed more if I could see you. Nirupama, I can see your picture now. Probably if I had a real class, not virtual, real, I guess we could have, really gelled well. Is Max still out there? Yes. Have you received the link to the mock test?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, it's there.
Thank you. Over.
Yes. Thank you all, and best of luck for your exams. All the very best. Do your very best. Give your best, how do I put it? Best possible answers, and may you all reach great heights.
ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮಗೆ